It's a two-part video. Two parts because the first part was blocked or erased. I did the first part from out of the country, and for some reason, all I got was a black screen when I tried to listen to it. I'm not exactly sure what I said, but I'll try to remember and talk a little bit about that while I have the time. At the time, I was in Spain having a great vacation, and I was moved by the fact that we went downstairs in the lobby in order to get a presentation about Spain. And what we discovered was that in Spain, everybody has single payer health care. Isn't that very interesting? The person there talked about people basically being able to go to the hospital and not be charged anything at all for what they needed. But, you see, they had a private health care and a public one. The public one charged you a little bit and often worked faster. The private one charged you a little bit and often worked faster. But the public one was probably the best because they had connections with the private one, so that if you were in a private one, you often ended up going to the public hospital and things like that. In other words, the public one was top notch. It was the better one. The private one was faster, but was not the superior one. Now, we see in the United States when they have private things and public things, it's often the opposite. They make the public one slow and inefficient on purpose so that they can sell the private one, and so they can defend the public one slowly and shut it down. This is the worship of profit, the worship of a capitalistic system, the worship of something that hurts us all and causes many people to go into bankruptcy. The problem is, you see, that this is not only something that happens with the health system, there's something that happens with every system within the United States. Every time we have a very good public system, what happens is that it is slowly defunded so it doesn't work, and is taken over by corporate America, making it either private or controlled by private citizens. 1% of the people, a small group of billionaires, basically, who end up owning and running things. And that, I think, is finally what the people are beginning to realize. This, however, is not making things change yet. It's just making that small amount of people and their helpers cling to more and more power by becoming more and more angry, more and more fascist, and by canceling people or shadow banning people from all of the public media or all of the social media so they can't be heard anymore. That is what TikTok is all about. TikTok would not block or ban many of the American people talking about the things in the United States that are happening that the corporate news system hides. Nor would RT America, run by Americans, employing Americans, Americans writing their own news feed, but still blocked because these Americans could explore what was going on and could give us the whole truth. Nothing but the truth. They could do like Thomas Jefferson and all the others wanted us to do when they said that a democracy had to be run by an educated group of people and therefore supplied much funding for various magazines, newspapers, and so on. We are at a phase of change right now. A whole lot's going on in the world. The one thing in common in the world is that in most of the countries in the world, the people want to go in a certain area or a certain direction, and the governments don't. The governments who are taking a lot of money from various donors and corporations want to follow the dictates of those corporations, and about 70 or 80% of the people don't want to. It's sad and frightening But we're seeing that we do not live in a democracy and never have. And this is causing us to begin to really look at all of the institutions that we thought were here to create a better world for everyone. Church, state, religion, the justice system, they all seem to be working not in order to enhance the lives of we the people, but to keep us under the thumb, to keep us in control, like a herd of animals being used to supply the resources for the top 10%, or those who are willing to become part of that 10%, do the work of that 10%, to hold down, to step down, to push down anyone who gets in the way and wants to make a little bit of ripples in their pond so that the pond stays still and placid, looks peaceful, while all kinds of horrible, treacherous things are going on just below the surface that no one can see. It's very sad. The sad part is that we human beings have been given this beautiful earth and an abundance of things that we could live off of forever. If we just lived in harmony with the earth, we would know peace, love, and kindness, but instead, some chose to try to ascend to the highest places of the heavens and to be like the Most High God. That, after all, is what that story about Lucifer and Satan was all about. It wasn't about an angel. It was about the human psyche and the few people who want to climb to the top and who won't be satisfied until they feel that they are equal to the Most High God. That's where we're at now. What can we do about it? We have to realize that they are not equal to the Most High God, because the Most High God is Most High not because of stealing, not because of taking, not because of manipulating, but because of sharing, because of giving, because of supplying the needs for each and every person. And we can be like the Most High God. We can be like that by sharing, giving, supporting each other, uplifting our neighbors and friends, and by refusing to take part in the destruction of other human beings, by cleansing our hearts and minds, getting rid of the stereotypes, and when we are given orders or commands or anything like that to hurt other people, we can disobey them either openly or in secret. It is time, my friends, to disobey hatred, anger, and violence in any way possible. If we're not able to do it out in the open, we have to do it in secret. We have to create a resistance to hate, to violence, to greed, and yes, to capitalism as they have it, and to state-run communism, all of those systems that they have created where a few people get on the top, take it over, and defile it. I always come on here and I'm thinking of giving these beautiful, peaceful speeches on here, and I'm dreaming about coming to a place where I am being monetized and making a living here and can travel and do all kinds of things to let people know about all the things that I've seen and heard and known. But then when I speak, you see, I don't do the kissing up that most people do. I don't do the dance that they do on TikTok. My spirituality doesn't come out as escapism, as us flying up in the air and being happy because a new world is born. It comes from a place of reality, of soul, of the voice of the divinity, which is known as God and Goddess, or Goddess and God, which is not only transcendent, reaching some being out there in the heavens, but is immanent, here and now, something that we can see, something that we can hear, something that we can feel, even if we can't understand it and put it in words, you see, because the real learning, the real understanding comes not from hearing words, but from experiencing the slice of reality that conveys the truth. All of us can do that. Sometimes words actually get in the way. Words can get in the way of experience. And when you are in a place where people have studied and practiced how to manipulate the minds through various words and symbols, it is even more difficult to hold on to the truth sometimes. What type of cure do we have for this? Can you tell me? You may ask. Sitting there in silence. That's what meditation is about. Sitting in silence and becoming aware of what's going on in the inside. But we can also do that by becoming what's aware on the outside and what's happening on the inside as a result of it. If we can just sometimes sit and observe people, the way they act, behave, their thoughts, we will see and know the truth about this society we live in. And if we can do that and also see the truth, to see what's going on inside of us as a result of it, the programming that has been placed within us popping up and joining with their programming, we will know reality, and we will understand that we are not the thoughts popping up. No, we are the one that is observing, and we'll realize that there is only one, and we are part of that goddess, that God, creator, creation, whatever its name. When we have done that, we will have arrived, and we can dance the dance of Layla. Craziness will become theater, or the opportunity to create and recreate, and we will find joy whenever we want to, because life will become a choice. We won't be driven by external forces. We will be the ones who choose our hope, our faith, and our destinies. So thank you for being with us again on this channel or the podcast. I don't know which you're listening to. I hope that you will share it with others, though, and subscribe. Leave some comments, ask some questions, and when we get enough of them, we'll do some live talks and expand as time goes on. We're trying to do more of them nowadays to get more viewers, to get more feedback, which is more important. So once again, it's very good to be with you. We will take a very short break, and we will return after the break. Struggling to find your way? All of us do, sometimes. Sometimes it's best just to be human religiously. Join us on this podcast where we talk about life and love, spirituality, personal growth, the things that are most important for each and every one of us. Join us so that we can take part in this magical dance together. Picking up where we left off, we find ourselves worshiping the creation of man, something that is a crybaby God with no type of emotional self-control, always throwing temper tantrums. Following that, we have babyish childish leaders nowadays who are always crying and whining, willing to sink the whole ship so they can have their way. We have an education system that teaches us to whine, to cry, to do anything, to look good in front of other people. And we wonder why this world's falling apart. And the worst part is, we don't listen to anyone who tells us these types of things because we can't bear to hear the truth. And we've learned that we are creatures who are evil, that we are creatures who are flawed, who can't do anything right. And we learned that making any mistake proves that we're no good. Making any mistake is wrong. And any type of discussion or confrontation with us that makes us feel uncomfortable is an attack, an attempt to destroy us. We've learned all of that, and as long as we can't let go of that, we're trapped in this wheel and we'll never be free. My question is, are you willing to be free? It's a good question, mainly because many people aren't. And so as you tune in here on my YouTube channel or my podcast, whichever you're listening to, I hope you will enjoy it and consider subscribing to our channel. Consider visiting our webpage, maybe even helping us through our Patreon, so that all of us can get this message out. The world is starting to fail, friends. Everyone who has eyes to see can see it, and ears to hear can understand it. It's time for all of us, the warriors of compassion, to work together to create a better world for ourselves, our children, and our children's children, for every living being, and to embody the true power, the true love, God, goddess, whatever you want to call it, that caused this world to come together and provides light and heat and warmth and sun, food and shelter for all beings on this earth in a state of balance and justice.